Welcome back, everyone. World Baseball News for the week of July 25th. Last week we saw the opening of a new stadium in Taiwan, a record lopsided score in Korea, the playoff race heating up in Mexico, playoffs already going in Europe. This week we've got the All-Star Series in Japan and Taiwan, but most importantly we've got some more big names for the WBC. Mike Trout has committed to play for Team USA in the 2023 WBC. The three-time MVP, four-time MVP runner-up, and eight-time Silver Slugger has been the best hitter in Major League Baseball over the last decade, one of the best ever. And with a .967 OPS is still at the top of his game. Team USA's got a long ways to go to fill up the roster, but they've taken a big step with this one. Bruce Bochy is back as manager of the French national team for the WBC qualifier in September. He was previously made manager of the French team in 2019, but later stepped down. Now he's back. He won 3 World Series championships as manager of the San Francisco Giants. He was born in France, and his son, Brett Bochy, who played a short time in MLB, is eligible to play for France. Team Korea has named Kang-chol Lee as their manager for the WBC. Lee has been manager of the KBO's KT Wiz the last 4 years. Last year, he led the Wiz to their first ever Korean Series title and has them in position to reach the playoffs again this year. Nelson Cruz has been chosen as general manager for the Dominican Republic team. This will be the first time an active player serves as GM in the history of the World Baseball Classic. The 42-year-old 7-time All-Star, who's hit 467 career home runs, played for DR in the last 3 WBCs, including the 2013 Classic when they won it all, and he may play in this one too. Cruz said, "Hopefully the GM calls me up and I can be a part of the team as a player." In Taiwan, a brand new stadium was played in for the first time on Friday. Hsinchu Stadium is the new home for the Weichuan Dragons. The $40 million stadium is complete with a state-of-the-art video board, VIP suites, and LED lighting. Beyond the outfield walls, nearby residents can view the game from their balconies. The president of Taiwan was present for the opening game on Friday, and Friday and Saturday's games were played in front of sellout crowds of 10,000. However, there were some complaints about the condition of the new stadium. Some were saying that the construction was rushed and it wasn't ready to be open to the public yet. Then came the bad news on Sunday. The problems with the new stadium were too much to ignore any longer, and Game 3 of the series was postponed. All Hsinchu games in August are to be rescheduled. More CPBL news later in this video. It's All-Star Week in NPB. Game 1 of the All-Star Series is on Tuesday at the PayPay Dome in Fukuoka. Game 2 is on Wednesday at Botchan Stadium in Matsuyama, a non-NPB city. Starting pitchers for Game 1 are SoftBank Hawks pitcher Tomohisa Ozeki for Pacific League and Hanshin Tigers ace Koyo Aoyagi for Central League. The Yomiuri Giants were hit hard by COVID last week. Following their weekday series with the Swallows, over 70 players and coaches tested positive. This included star players Tomoyuki Sugano and Kazuma Okamoto, as well as manager Tatsunori Hara. The Giants' weekend series with the Dragons was postponed. The week started with the Swallows holding their usual big lead in Central League, but showing some weakness lately. Meanwhile, in Pacific League, the Hawks were clinging to a narrow lead as they were fighting off 4 other teams that were not far behind. Marine Day holiday on Monday in Japan, so there was a full schedule. Giants beat the first-place Swallows 10-8. The two teams combined for 30 hits and 7 home runs. Baystars got past the Dragons 2-1. Carp and Tigers were rained out. In Pacific League, Game 3 of the series that started over the weekend. Lions topped the Fighters 5-1 to move into first place for the first time this year, though it only lasted a day. Eagles over Buffaloes 8-3, and the Marines took care of the Hawks 2-1. Yoshihiro Maru homered and batted in 4 runs for the Giants. Tuesday, Swallows over the Giants 5-3. Dragons jumped ahead early and held on to beat the Baystars 3-2. Tigers shut out the Carp 3-0. New series in Pacific League, Marines got past the Lions 5-3, and the Buffaloes were 7-1 winners over the Fighters. Wednesday, Swallows 8-2 over the Giants for their first series win in more than 2 weeks. Baystars 6-4 over the Dragons to win that series. Carp came from behind to beat the Tigers 5-3. Marines 8-4 over the Lions. Buffaloes blanked the Fighters 2-0, and the Eagles annihilated the Hawks 17-3. Munetaka Murakami homered and batted in 4 of the Swallows' runs. Buffalo's rookie pitcher Ren Mukunoki lost a no-hitter with 2 outs in the 9th. He ended the game with 8 2/3 scoreless and 11 strikeouts for the win. Lots of big hitters for the Eagles. Hideto Asamura drove in 5 runs on 2 home runs. Catcher Genjiro Sumitani also homered twice, batting in 3. Thursday, Pacific League only, Marines scored 3 in the 9th for a come-from-behind walk-off win to finish off a 3-game sweep of the Lions. Buffaloes beat the Fighters 4-3 for the sweep, and the Eagles went from a 17-run explosion on Wednesday to only managing 4 hits on Thursday. They were blanked by the Hawks 7-0. Kodai Senga was largely responsible for that. 8 shutout innings with 8 strikeouts. He improved to 8-3 for the season. Friday, Carp scored 3 runs in the 9th on a pair of home runs to get past the Swallows 5-2. Tigers over the Baystars 6-3. In the battle for second place in Pacific League, Lions beat the Eagles 9-4, and the Hawks fought off the Buffaloes 7-5. Another week, another quality start for Koyo Aoyagi. He got the win to improve to 11-1. Saturday, Carp destroyed the Swallows 15-3. Tigers beat the Baystars again 3-1. Marines held on to top the Fighters 7-6. Lions and Eagles finished in a 3-3 tie after 12 innings, and the Buffaloes blanked the Hawks 5-0. Shogo Akiyama had 3 hits, a 3-run homer, and 4 batted in for the day. And Yoshinobu Yamamoto got win number 10 as he struck out 9 batters through 8 scoreless innings. Sunday, Swallows avoided a sweep 4-2 over the Carp. Baystars could not avoid a sweep. They fell to the Tigers 1-0. Fighters over the Marines 5-4 to split the series. Eagles beat the Lions 9-2 to split that series. And the Buffaloes 7-4 in the rubber match over the Hawks. Yuma Imagawa was responsible for most of the Fighters' scoring, with a first-inning grand slam. Central League standings, Swallows haven't looked like themselves in the last few weeks, but still hold an 11-game lead with a magic number of 41, with 52 games left on their schedule. Tigers and Carp are tied for second, both teams 46 and 46. Baystars trail those two by a game and a half, Giants by 2.5, Dragons last. Pacific League standings, Hawks hang on for another week, but one bad week could have them fall as low as 5th. Lions are half a game out, Eagles and Marines 2 games out, Buffaloes 2.5. Then at the bottom we have the Fighters. This week in NPB, the first game of the All-Star Series is on Tuesday at 7 p.m. local time at Pepe Dome, home of the Pacific League leader, the SoftBank Hawks. On Wednesday, they move over to Bochan Stadium in Matsuyama for Game 2. Game starts at 6:30 p.m. Thursday is a day off. Friday, back to regular schedule. Giants at Baystars, Swallows at Tigers, Dragons at Carp, Fighters at Eagles, Buffaloes at Marines, and second-place Lions at first-place Hawks. In Korea, they went into last week having just finished the KBO All-Star game, so they were off Monday to Thursday, a little break before starting up again. DJ Peters was released by the Lotte Giants last week. In 85 games, he hit 13 home runs and batted in 48, but his slash line was a disappointing 228, 299, 402. No replacement has been named yet. The Giants entered the All-Star break 4 games out in the playoff race. Friday, Tigers beat the Giants 5-2. Eagles snapped a 6-game losing streak and shut out the Wiz 8-0. Dinos over the third-place Twins 5-4. Landers scored the game's first run in the top of the 12th 1-0 over the Bears, and the Heroes walked it off in the 11th to top the Lions 3-2. 12th straight loss for the Lions. Eagles pitcher Jeffrey Ramirez held the Wiz to 1 hit and 7 shutout innings while striking out 8. Landers pitcher and KBO ERA leader Kwang Hyun Kim tossed 8 scoreless in a no decision. Saturday, Heroes handed the Lions their 13th consecutive loss, a 6-0 shutout. Tigers beat the Giants for the second day in a row 9-3. Wiz over the Eagles 5-3 in a game called after 8 innings. Twins got even with the Dinos 11-5, and the Landers-Bears game was rained out. In the Heroes win, Eric Jokic threw 7 shutout innings with 6 Ks and only 4 hits allowed. Sunday, the Lions finally ended their losing streak, beating the Heroes convincingly 8-0. The Giants were hoping to gain some ground on the 5th-place Tigers, but instead suffered a 3-game sweep, ending in the most humiliating way, a 23-0 massacre. That's a new KBO record for the biggest margin of victory. Wiz over the Eagles 3-1 for a hard-fought series win. Dinos over the Twins 6-1, unexpectedly taking the series. And the Landers got by the Bears 5-4 for a 2-game sweep. J.L.O. drove in 5 of the Lions' 8 runs on a 2-run homer and a base-clearing double. Tigers first baseman Dae-In Hwang was 5 out of 6 with a home run, 4 runs scored, and 5 batted in. Tigers pitcher Wee Lee threw 7 shutout innings, only 3 hits and 9 strikeouts. Almost exactly the same for Dinos pitcher Drew Rucinski, 7 innings, no runs, 3 hits, and 8 strikeouts. KBO standings, Landers' lead grows to 5 games over the Heroes, 6.5 over the Twins. Not only are they the first-place team, they're also the hottest, with an 8-game win streak. The last 2 teams in playoff position are the 4th-place Wiz, 13 games out of first, and the 5th-place Tigers, 14 out. The Tigers' sweep of the Giants really put some distance between themselves and the bottom-half teams. The 6th-place Giants trail them by 7 games. Bears are a game and a half behind the Giants. Dinos may soon crawl past the Lions. Eagles are in their usual place. This week in the KBO, Tuesday to Thursday, Eagles at Lions, 3rd-place Twins at 1st-place Landers, Giants at Bears, Dinos at Tigers, and Heroes at Wiz. On the weekend, Wiz at Twins, Giants at Lions, Bears at Eagles, Landers at Tigers, and Heroes at Dinos. CPBL All-Star Series in Taiwan is this weekend, the first All-Star Series since 2019. Game 1 is on Saturday, Game 2 on Sunday, as well as the Home Run Derby and Skills Competition on both days. New pitcher on the way for the brothers. 33-year-old right-hander Michael Marriott pitched in MLB from 2014 to 2016 for the Royals and Phillies. This year he's been pitching in AAA Toledo, where he had a 5.40 ERA in 26 2/3 innings. They headed into last week with only 2 games remaining on the first half schedule. On Monday, the Dragons finished their first half with an 8-1 win over the Guardians. Outfielder Tianxin Kuo batted in 3 runs on 3 hits, including his first home run of the year. Tuesday, Guardians made it a good ending to a terrible first half, 4-3 over the Lions. Shortstop Sheng Wei Wang had 3 hits and crossed the plate all 3 times. And that brought the first half to a close. Monkeys clinched a spot in the postseason with the first half title. Second-place Brothers were 4.5 out, third-place Lions 5.5, fourth-place Dragons 6.5 games out of first. Guardians were 21 games out in just a 60-game half-season schedule. But after being off Wednesday and Thursday, the second half began on Friday, with all teams starting over with no wins and no losses. Friday, Guardians got the second half started right, 1-0 over the Dragons. Xiao Qing-Chong tossed 6 scoreless with 5 Ks for the win. And the Monkeys kept on rolling, a 3-0 4-hit shutout of the Lions. Tzu Peng Huang was responsible for 7 of those innings. He improved to 7-1. Saturday, Guardians won again, 4-0, further spoiling the Dragons' celebration at their new home. It was Guardians pitcher Mike Lowry who had a reason to celebrate. 6 scoreless innings and 8 strikeouts for career win number 100. He is only the 4th pitcher in CPBL history to reach the mark, and only the 2nd foreign pitcher. He started 234 games in his 10-year CPBL career. And the Monkeys beat the Brothers 8-6 to open the second half at 2-0. All 8 Monkeys runs came in the 6th inning. One game on Sunday, the Brothers got their first win of the second half, 3-1 over the Lions. Che Yuen-Yu got the win, 7 innings, 1 run, 5 Ks to improve to 5-1. CPBL second half standings, Guardians go from last to first, at least for now. They and the Monkeys are 2-0. Brothers 1-1, and the Lions and Dragons are still looking for their first win. Equally important are the overall standings. Monkeys have a comfortable lead at the top. Brothers grow their second-place lead to 2 games over the Lions, 3 over the Dragons. This week's action begins on Tuesday with Lions at Monkeys and Guardians at Brothers. Getting closer and closer to playoff time in Mexico, and it seems like the closer we get to the end, the tighter the race gets. Toros de Tijuana have now built a 3-game lead in the north. They won 2 out of 3 from Monterrey, while second-place Tecolotes were swept by Tabasco. Monclova swept León to leap over Monterrey for third. Monterrey had a tough series loss to Tijuana over the weekend, and it doesn't get any easier this week. Laguna and Aguascalientes occupy the last 2 playoff spots for now. Saltillo is just a game and a half out in the playoff race. The bottom 2 are Durango and Guadalajara. Terrible weekend for Mariachis de Guadalajara. They surrendered 30 runs in a loss to Aguascalientes on Saturday. On Sunday, they gave up 15. The South is where it's really close. Rojos and Tabasco are tied for the top spot. Rojos went 5-1 last week, winning 2 of 3 from the former first-place team Puebla, then sweeping Veracruz on the weekend. Tabasco, as I mentioned before, swept Tecolotes over the weekend. Before that, they swept Saltillo for a perfect 6-0 week. Puebla fell to third, 1.5 out of first. Fourth place Quintana Roo is only 2 games out. Fifth place Yucatan and sixth place Veracruz are 4.5 and 5.5 games out respectively. A 6.5 game gap between the teams in playoff position and the bottom 3, Oaxaca, Campeche, and León. Tecolotes de los Dos Laredos fell from the top spot and have been falling further and further behind Toros. They'll try to stop that slide this week, but they'll be up against Tigres, who are only 2 games out of the top spot in the south. As I said before, Monterrey has a tough week ahead of them. Tuesday to Thursday, they'll visit South number 1 Diablos Rojos. On the weekend, they're at home against South number 5 Leones. Quarterfinals continued in Germany over the weekend. Out of the 4 matchups, only 1 has yet to be decided. The Paderborn Untouchables and the Munich Hard Disciples got their series started after their games were called off the weekend before. Hard took Game 1 on Saturday 9-6. Regensburg over Doran 5-3 to finish off a 3-game sweep. They move on to the semis. Bonn over Mainz 4-0 to go up 2-1 in the series, and Heidenheim made it a 3-game sweep with a 7-2 win over Hamburg. Later in the day, Paderborn evened up the series, beating Haar 4-2. Sunday, Bonn over Mainz 12-6 to take the series 3-1. Paderborn held off a late rally to top Haar 6-4 and go up 2-1 in the series. This Saturday, Game 1 of the semifinals between the top seed from the north, the Bonn Capitals, and the number 2 seed from the south, the Heidenheim Heideköpfe, in a rematch of last year's Bundesliga Championship Series, and Game 4 of the last quarterfinal series between Haar and Paderborn. Sunday, Game 5 if necessary, as well as Game 2 between Bonn and Heidenheim. The Czech League was off last weekend, taking a break between the end of the 16 postseason round-robin and the start of the semifinals. That will start this Friday with top-seeded Drazi Brno taking on Eagles Praha, while Hrosy Brno meets Tempo Praha. Games 1, 2, and 3 of the best-of-5 series will be this weekend, and Games 4 and 5, if necessary, will be next weekend. The Italian League got back in action after a 2-week break for Harlem Baseball Week. Still a few weeks left till the semifinals get started. Early last week, Parma picked up a couple wins over Bologna and Collecchio. On the weekend, all 4 series resulted in 3-game sweeps. Parma swept Godo Knights and San Marino swept Torino. Those two will no doubt be the semifinalists out of Group A. Bologna won 3 from Nettuno while Grosseto swept Collecchio. That was enough to move Grosseto into second place. This week, Parma and Bologna meet once on Wednesday. On the weekend, it's San Marino versus Nettuno, Grosseto versus Godo Knights, Parma versus Collecchio, and Bologna versus Torino. The 4-team winners stage in the Netherlands also returned after a 2-week break, and just like in the Italian League, it was all sweeps over the weekend. Amsterdam surprisingly won all 3 games over Neptunus. They now sit alone at the top of the standings with 28 points. Meanwhile, HCAW earned a hard-fought 3-game sweep over Oosterhout Twins. All 3 games were won by a single run. This weekend, Neptunus has a chance to make up for last week's fall when they host a 3-game set with HCAW. Twins will be at home to take on Amsterdam. And that's all for this one. Until next time, this is Baseball International. See ya.